situated here. How's everybody doing this morning? Got a pretty reef behind me. I was kind of doing some thinking. Maybe we need to get ahead of things. Maybe we're always behind. We're always 2 steps behind. $1 late, $2 billion short. And they always lead us down these paths of they're telling us what we're supposed to be thinking about. The news in China gets people thinking about something stupid, make them gullible. News in America guides people astray. News in Britain. And they're always just guiding us on these paths. And I think maybe if we don't let them guide us, you know, maybe if we like I said, I like to jump around on the news. I refuse to watch American news, and they're talking about the shooting in Maryland and everything else. But I think they're always guiding us. And maybe we need to start thinking ahead. Maybe we need to start thinking forward. Consider what they're not telling us. What comes next? Now that Europe and America are getting pushed out of Syria and everywhere else, maybe the axis of evil needs to shift. And of course, they're grumbling about the South China Sea. Why? Because they make everything for everybody. They make all your small electronics. If it weren't for the South China Sea and Taiwan and everybody, y'all wouldn't have all the slave stuff you have. You wouldn't have all the cotton that you do. You wouldn't have all the minerals, the small electronics that drive our homes and make our lifestyle so nice. So whoever controls the South China Sea, man, they control a lot of plantations, man. That's a lot of plantations. So of course America wants to get on that. America got to get on the action, and Europe too got to get on that action. Can't just let these small electronics be dominated by China, the demons. You know, so I'll be a little harsh on China, but I think we can't get led astray of what China's doing. So if you guys are aware, they're making islands. They're making islands. Let me see who's here first of all, before I start off going into my rant. They're making islands. Of course, and we sent Ronald Reagan over there, y'all. They got Ronald Reagan. They gave they gave him a wheelchair that can like swing. Wait a minute, is Ronnie still alive? I don't even know. People die all the time. No, I don't think did Ronnie. I think he died. Didn't he die? I'm sorry, Ronnie. I didn't mean to say that, but well, hold on. Was Ronald a billionaire? Was he a psychopath? I don't remember. I forgot. A long time ago. So then maybe they're not sending Ronnie Reagan. Maybe they're sending the USS Ronald Reagan, because that makes sense. They're not going to send Ronald Reagan over. Oh, he got too much money, man. Hell no. He's not one of y'all little poor non-billionaires. They ain't going to send Ronald Reagan over. They ain't going to send his kids neither. They won't send his cousin, won't send his nephew, won't send none of his nieces. Won't damn sure won't send none of Ronald's kids. They damn sure send your kids, because that's what this is always about. What is war always about? War is always about poor kids dying for kings, coffers, and land. Always has been. But somehow they figured out how to get like really smart people, intellectuals, to think that war was about trade agreements and saving human life, protecting kids from chemical weapons. There's freedom and democracy. They hate us for our freedoms. And I just sit back and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So we'll probably end up in some sort of a controlled conflict with China. And I don't think that it's ever really about what they say it's about, though. Like I know that we want to control, you know, the South China Sea, and of course China does, and they've got that at the 9 border thing, what is the 9 sketch marks? What do they call it? They took a map, somebody in China took a map, say, that's our land. And of course it stepped over all the other countries' claim to, what is it, 200 miles off the coast. And so now we sent the USS Ronald Reagan. I think that's the 3rd carrier group that's over there now. I think it's in France and the UK are over there also. Usual suspects, man. Usual suspects. It's like in school when kids get to fight and fight broke out in the cafeteria. The administrators, they always knew it was 1 or 2 or 3 of the bad kids. It was always the bad kids, never the good kids. Always the bad kids. So they're gonna. So I think we need to think about the South China Sea, and I think we need to get ahead of it. I think we need to get ahead of the lies, because the lies are coming, the conflict is coming, something will happen, you know, because the Europe and America, they got to go to war with somebody. And I guess Putin and the billionaires that are behind him beat out the billionaires that are behind, I guess, the Rothschilds and their banks. That's why I always like to talk about the banks. I like to talk about what it actually is, not what people way down here on the lower levels who okay with being gaslit and gullible, and they think it's about all these other things, human rights and whatever excuse they come up with, which is a good point. I got to look at that human rights report. You guys, you know, the UN put out that human rights report about the United States, which I think is hilarious. But what's not hilarious that they do that we are the greatest violator of human rights on the planet and probably have been for the last 100 years. That's not really the point. The point is that I think we're coming into a great place. Like I said, I still stand behind it. I think Trump is going to make America great again. I do. I swear I do. I do, because he scares the hell out of enough people. When you scare enough Americans, something might change. And the majority of people I know who voted for him, they didn't vote for him because they thought he was going to be a great president. They voted for him because they thought he was different. Now that we see that ain't nothing different coming out, same human rights violations, we got, you know, poor kids and coal miners' daughters dying every day from a lack of food, and we're sending millions of dollars to countries all over the planet. Obviously, we're a human rights violator, and that was the whole point of the report, is that Americans live in abject poverty, and we do. Oh my gosh! If you're not in America, you know, I'm lucky enough that I get to travel to certain communities, and I can see how the real ignorantly wealthy, running around in Fantasia Americans live, and I get to see how the real, just gully, raw Americans live, whether it's in like out in the country, in the rural areas, or in the urban areas. And I see it all. And I'm telling you, this puppy's about to pop. This puppy's about to pop. That's why I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy for a lot of reasons. So the good thing about, I think I was saying yesterday, the good thing about all of these organizations that like run this world, all these banks and the CIA, even in China, what's China's security agency? What's China's security? Because they have a different approach on like stealing resources. They do it a different way. They don't use drones, at least not yet anyway. That's our way of doing it. They're a little more methodical about it, but they got their little secret agencies too. But the thing is, you know, the most devastating thing about this planet is humans. But those humans didn't realize that all of the devastation they do is surrounded by other humans, poor humans. And I think that's the change. I think that's the game changer. I think the game changer is if the kings and the lords can keep poverty at low enough levels, get the middle class to keep looking the other way. Because the middle class, to a degree, they're not lords, but they're like the wannabe lords. They're like in the middle. And they're like screwing everybody because they want to be a big lord, but they're like little wannabe kind of sort of lords. And they do a lot of damage looking the other way. But if you can keep poverty, if you can keep the most impoverished people, I think to certain percentages, the kings and the lords could get away with anything they wanted to. But when there gets to be too many, that's when they get the pitchforks. That's when they get the torches. That's when they get the tar and feathers. And this is why I'm happy. Somebody say I'm positive. I am positive because I see positive things. I think it's always a rainbow. You got to look for the rainbow. But it's not a rainbow behind me, though. It's not a rainbow. The reason I'm at the reef today, because I want to talk about the South China Sea for a minute. I think we got to get ahead and not be led around, because even I'm led around. Like, it's so hard to, real news is out there, but it's like so hidden and it's just like buried. And I don't know what happened with this shooting. Again, I don't watch American news. I think I saw a pop-up yesterday, and I saw something this morning for a minute. So a guy in Maryland went and shot up he went and shot a bunch of journalists at a newspaper. I'm worried about it. I don't know. I don't know if the false flaggers are going, if the other folks are going. Gun controllers, false flag. Everybody's got their thing. Again, I just sit back and I look at it and say, why is this happening? And what's going to happen next? And of course, you know what's going to happen next. Take the guns from the poor people. That always comes. That's just the narrative. Blame the tool, not the users, and damn sure not the government that brought about the scarcity or police state that caused it. I suspect that that's going to be utilized not for anything good, because they've already said the guy was attached to some social media group, a social media group. Terrorism, y'all terrorists. If you don't believe Fox News and MSM and CNN, y'all terrorists. So, of course, it's going to be utilized. So the guy went in, shot a bunch of people. Y'all already know the story. I guess he surrendered. They arrested him, whatever, got him out. So, of course, it'll be a crackdown on social media. Some Maryland legislator going to come up with something. We got to say the people. And they're going to come up with some legislation to give more censorship to people who aren't fitting in their fences, to censor more people who aren't being extreme about things. But so anyway, so I kind of saw that. But I'm at a reef in the South China Sea, and I love to got the turtles in it. Got the turtles. Because what's happening is so if y'all, I think y'all are aware of this. This is the island building. So the reef used to look like that, and then all of a sudden China came in, they did this. They're making islands. Right, so China is destroying the reef systems. Of course they are. Nobody talking about the damn turtle. Nobody cares about the turtle. Nobody cares. Dad, Nemo. Where my Nemo at? Nobody cares about Nemo. Nobody cares about the turtle. They got the dredger. Where's Nemo? Oh, I can't show Nemo. I don't know where Nemo's over here somewhere. But anyway, nobody give a damn about Nemo. And that's why there's always common ground. And that's another reason I'm happy. So much common ground. If you are save the reef, if you're the save the animals, if you're vegan, all of y'all have everything in common with the people who are, I need my guns, you know, and the anti-war, like everybody has everything in common with this. Because why are they destroying the reef systems? Why are they building islands? Because they're putting military. I got a picture of the military. Where's the military base? I thought I had a picture of the military base. So they get these big sand dredgers in there and they build these islands. And the reason why they're doing it is because there's an old saying. It says it's better to ask, wait a minute, hold on. It's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. So China ain't asking a damn thing. You know, of course, you can go to the roots of it. You can go through all the political crap and, oh, this, that, and this trade agreement, that, all the billionaire stuff. I don't care nothing about that. It's just billionaires fighting over keeping y'all stupid so they can make a whole lot of money. Comes down to money. That's the bottom line. Money's the bottom line. Nature doesn't mean any damn thing. And the model we have, because the model we have around the world is crony. It's all crony. I love the word crony. And I think probably before a few years ago, I didn't know what crony. I probably still don't know what crony means, but that's okay. It's crony. It means is that the cronies do stuff together, and the crony. All you gotta know about the crony is you're not a crony. That's it. You're not a crony. That's it. If you were watching, cronies don't go on the internet, right? Cronies got big, massive yachts. They got lots of cars, but they like to store, but they like to starve poor little white kids and poor little Hispanic kids and separate them from the parents and poor little black kids. And, you know, so if you're watching this, you're not crony. So it's not for you. So it's crony capitalism runs the world, and you're not crony. So you have nothing to do with the capitalism. Now, they might let you get a few chicken bones. They have chicken bones. They eat at the big fat cat's table. A few chicken bones fall off the crony table. Some of y'all can pick them up. The middle class picks up the little bones and start sucking on their germs, last little piece of meat, and they're okay with that. And they want to keep this system continue to go the way it does without changing it. But it all comes down to money. It's always about money. Let me see if I want to show you some pictures of the South China Sea. I think if we get ahead of this and we get ready to, you know, because the people who are going to say, oh, Trump is going to do something good. It's like, no, he's not allowed to. That's not how this works. We got to get away from the gaslit. I guess that's the other thing I'm kind of positive about. This is one of the islands right here. I'm kind of positive that the people who voted for Trump, the majority that I know, I don't know about what you know. The majority you think they're racist, but that's your thing. The majority I know, they were just anti-establishment. They were people who didn't vote. And they just came out and said, nope, we're not doing this no more. We need to fight this whole globalism thing. So I get that. So the good thing, though, is the majority of them, they're not believing that he was bringing hope and change. They hoped he drained the swamp, but I don't think they thought he would be. You know, they know he's a billionaire. They know that he came out of those. He's a corrupt real estate guy. And he didn't have a good enough story like Obama, right? Obama had that story of, oh, he is a loving guy, he's a daddy, he's a good husband, he's a community organizer, he's a constitutional lawyer. So all of these good things that kind of kept people really believing. But then he was intelligent people. So I'm not talking about these people. These are our people now. Everybody are people. Intelligent people, but they had such a great story. Oh, Nobel Peace Prize, Man of the Year, all this great stuff. And so it was easy to want to believe that he wasn't going to do what everybody else did. Meanwhile, he was just, again, these are just actors. They're just figureheads. They put them up in front of you because they can fool you. So that's the other reason I have hope is a lot of the Trump voters were just anti-establishment. They were just trolling the establishment. They were trolling the billionaires. And so I think a lot of them kind of got it. And so because I know, because Trump scares the hell out of everybody else, it means that the ones who voted for him that were always anti-establishment, the ones that were raging against the machine and fighting the power while everybody else joined the power, they actually can start coming together with people who are scared of what he's doing, right? Because you can be scared of Trump, or you can be scared of the system that allows for the government to do those things, a system that can send $10 million a day to another country while little kids in America starve to death. But this, so anyway, so this is one of the islands right here. It's the Fiery Cross Island. Of course, it's not an island, it's a reef system. It was Nemo's house. Nemo was swimming, chilling one day, just swimming, trying to find Dory. Dory was getting lost. And of course, they sent the boats, the sand dredgers. See if I got a better picture of it. It's pretty too. It's real pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty, but it's no longer a reef system. It actually is a military base. There are a couple of them. I think they have a thing here that shows. And the whole point is it's easier to ask here. Yeah, here it is right here. So they basically build a big port so they can get big ships in there. And they dominate the space. And so they've taken over the South China Sea, and it's going to be hard to get them out. We've got 3 aircraft carrier groups down there. And of course, some little silly thing will happen and somebody will click on a button and a missile will fire, some shaft blow out. And the next thing you know, they don't care about the pilots, y'all. But they know it triggers your ism. It triggers your nationalism. They shot at American pilots. We need to send more American pilots and get more of them killed, you know. And, oh, well, I'm in China and America's coming here encroaching, because they always get people fighting over dumb stuff that has nothing to do with them. South China Sea and what's happening has absolutely nothing to do with you. If you're watching me, if you're not one of the cronies at the table, you're absolutely not going to get anything out of this. This means nothing. It's nothing for you. This is about billionaires who probably made promises over these islands and the control of the small electronics that come from the slave labor that the middle class is okay with. And they're fighting over it. It's just like any trade agreement. This is why I don't care about the trade war. Actually, I like the trade wars. I love them. I love the trade wars. They're doing the right thing for the wrong reason. And I don't think it'll go as long as it needs to. But if something doesn't have nothing to do with you, let it go. Ignore it. Because what they're doing is they're working on a narrative right now to get you to accept them doing something stupid, taking away somebody else's human rights, which is why I'm glad I need to see some human rights reports coming out for Europe. But I guess for the most part, I mean, Europe, y'all do some violations. Y'all kind of back down from a lot of your violations. You kind of beat the Egyptians at the whole colonization of the world thing, and y'all beat the Mongols at the colonizing strategy. And I love to say it that way because, you know, people, they get lost and they like to say, Britain was a colonizer. You colonized us. The white people colonized us. And then I laugh at it. I'm just like, no, dummy, that's not what happened. That's not. Psychopaths come in all colors. And the good thing is that they're minority. And all Britain did was mimic what the Mongols did, what the Romans did, what the Egyptians did that came from South Africa. So stop it. You know, it's like I say, see, we can't talk to each other because we can't seem to grow up out of our birth racisms, our birth privileges, our being proud that we were born in China, or being proud that we were born in America. and you just dummy lucked up and it was an accident. You don't be proud of nothing stupid like that. You know, being proud that you were born a thing, so now you're gonna hate on somebody else because you were. That's just dumb. That's dumb. But they always play us to, you know, to that degree, and we got to stop getting played. But you can't talk to people because you say dumb things to piss them off. You say dumb things that are handed to you by your co-opted leaders to get you to make them angry with you, so they don't go back and forth. Like I saw something yesterday. I was laughing. I didn't post it. I was afraid it was going to hit too many triggers. I didn't post it. Who was, I think Brother Will did it. Brother Will did it. I think I saw it on Sissy's page, and I was going to post it. I was going to post it. I wanted to, but I decided not to do it. I'll leave it at this. Because it said, you know, we got to get away from this race stuff, and it said all over it. Okay. I'll try to explain. Should I show it? No, I'm not gonna show it. Should I? No, I'm not gonna show it. I'm not gonna show it. Well, maybe I can. Yeah, I can show it. I'm gonna show it. It's about division. I shouldn't, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to show it. This is why I'm not going to. I'll tell you about it. I'm not going to show it. It was about that word white privilege. I'm not going to show it. Because I start talking about that, this is going to be the whole video. I don't want this to be the discussion this morning. So it's just, I can't. I'm sorry, Marilyn. I can't show it. I can't, because I don't want to go there. I just remind people that if you start off a phrase with white, everything else you say next is racist. It doesn't really matter. Everything you say next is racist, whether it's white privilege, white supremacy, white guilt, like anything that you say, it's going to be racist. You need to stop talking. Now, if you consider yourself white or you consider yourself black, then I guess you're lost in that paradigm or something. You know, that's up to you. But I don't believe in any of that. I don't think that if people hate you, I think there's a good reason that they hate you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think there's a good reason that they hate you. And I don't think you coming up with your own reverse hate and hating on an entire race because like 0.01, 2%, whatever, mad because a bald black dude done did something to him once. I think it's stupid for you to go show that you're ignorant and you prove their point. I think that you fight hate with love. I don't think you fight hate with more racist terms. So I'm leaving it at this. I don't want to go down that road. I hate that road. That's a stupid road. I hate the road. The only way we take this planet back is if we can learn to talk to each other again. The only way we can learn to talk to each other again is if we can talk to each other with respect. The only way we do that is we let people have their beliefs and we show them we're not the fools that they were taught that we are. And that goes on all sides of everything, right? It's not in America. In America, they lost in this white, black, dumb stuff, right? This spectral solar radiation dumb stuff. But every nation has their own little division, right? Because that's how banks work. That's exactly how banks work. Banks keep people divided. Not banks. Let's say it another way. That's how cronies work. They keep people who hold most of the resources divided up so they can get most of the resources. And that's how it's always about economics. It's always about resource. It has nothing to do with any isms, nationalism, racism, So I don't want to go down the road. All I'm saying is if we don't get our act together, your kids ain't gonna be around to fight it. Your kids ain't gonna be around to do anything with it. You got a bigger ism coming that's gonna take it all out, and that's cronyism. The people who actually run this planet, the people who are doing the screw to everybody. So I don't like that word. I think that people need their pride intact. They don't need you hacking away at their pride. Otherwise, we can't stop dumb stuff like what's happening in the South China Sea. We can't stop it. They do this and they're killing Nemo and Dory because people in China don't own their government. People who want to protect the reef and save the environment, they can't even speak up. They have no say. It's like America. We're sending Ronald Reagan over there, a bunch of poor kids on the USS Ronald Reagan with the other aircraft carriers to go get a bunch of poor people killed over cronyism, over chicken, and all the middle class get the chicken bones out of it. So anyway, my point is people need their pride intact. So don't beat down anybody and come up with some racial slurs because you're mad at them. If you're mad at them, keep it to yourself. They don't like you and you don't like me, keep it to yourself. That's not the discussion. We're trying to bring the planet back. The planet's a little bigger than the ego. Planet big, ego little. Planet big, ego little. right? So we have to drop those silly things, and we need to, the enemy of your enemy, the enemy of your greater enemy is your friend. And that's assuming that your enemy is actually your enemy and you weren't just born into the feet that you have and you think that you were told that they're your enemy and they're not really your enemy. You just don't know them. Everybody needs their pride intact. And I'm not talking about solar radiation pride. I think that you're not at the level you probably should be if you're still talking about that. We're talking about human pride. We're talking about proud of being human. We're talking about tapping into what we actually are, not what the slave masters and the railroad tycoons and whoever dominated your country, the robber barons, the coltan miners, what you really are, not what they told you you are. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you need to be proud of, which, by the way, they don't have the kids out the mine and the soccer team, the football team. They haven't found the kids yet. So y'all need to stay focused on that. Say your prayer, say a kind word or whatever spirituality thing you talk to, say something positive, because we need positive vibrations and we need to be with the families of those kids who are lost in that cave. So anyway, this is what China's doing. That's why I said I hate going down that road, because and I'm gonna look at your comments in a minute, but at that road, it's a sticky road, because in my country we got a lot of just really silly people who got egos on both sides, and they like to keep it going, and it's going to cause a lot of problems, because the cronies, they love your little racial debates, they love your little racial religious divides, they love it. But that's how they get all right, done with that. So anyway, China's building islands, and it's crazy, because eventually I think we are going to end up in a conflict. Wasn't it the guy in the Trump administration, what was it, Bannon? Wasn't he the one who said that he expects before he left in 5 years or so, he expects we will be in some sort of a conflict with China? This is what's important. Why? Because they're going to send a bunch of poor kids to kill a bunch of other poor kids who are just born into the feet they are. And this is something as a world we need to stop it. Not just to save the reef and to save Nemo and save Dory, but because they're building these islands, they're putting military bases on them, they're putting big airstrips. Oh, there was a picture of the airstrips. Somebody did some analysis and they talked about the types of aircraft they can get off of the airstrips that they're building on each island. Here it goes, right here. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here you go. So these are a couple of the islands that they built, and these are the airstrip comparisons, and you can see that they have the size to put bombers on them, cargo carriers, and fighter aircraft. This is a bad idea. This is a complete bad idea, and it's something that we can't stop. Something we completely can't stop, because we're busy fighting over silly stuff. So that's one thing. And the other thing that's on my mind this morning is human rights, right? So now that we actually have a discussion happening worldwide about denying human beings human rights, the big countries who are supposed to be the beacons, the beacons for human rights, whether or not they're the biggest human rights violators on the planet, and always have been, perhaps going back a couple hundred years anyway. And I think we need to keep talking about that. I think we need to keep posting about that. I think we need to keep sharing that. We need to keep clicking on it. The only control we have is the vote, in terms of certainly what we click on, what we share. Thank you if you invited, you like, you share, you subscribed. I always appreciate that. But sharing out what's important to the human race is more important than what's important to cronies. It's more important than what's important to the billionaires. Which is why I try to stay away from, like I said, sometimes I hit the trigger words because I think some triggers are ready to be dealt with, other triggers aren't. Got a good friend of mine. Some of y'all, I get into a discussion with her, and and she likes the word traitor Trump. I hate that. I hate the phrase. I know if you watch it, sister, I know. I hate the reason I hate the phrase is because it sends people into that identity zone. I think that trigger, that's a hot trigger. If someone asked me, do I think, and she asked me, do I think Trump is a traitor? I don't like to answer the question. I just want to say, if poor kids are dying in our country, and being from a Trump perspective, I have to say, poor coal miners' daughters, they don't have shoes, Their daddy doesn't have a job, mommy doesn't have a job. You know, they're scrambling together to feed themselves. They're being evicted from their trailer. I'm not even say house. I'm gonna say trailer, like in a trailer that they bought for $5,000. You know, that they just put on a plot of land and they're trying to survive. If that actually is happening, and we're sending millions of dollars to another country to invade them and steal resources, is that the act of a traitor? Instead, I won't say traitor Trump. I think if you're gonna say that, say administration. And then I always ask the question, what administration has ever looked at the poor people in this country or any country? Because Britain's the same, France is the same, they're all the same. So why I say that it has nothing to do with Trump. It doesn't. It has to do with us because we're too stupid to actually change the system. Like I was looking at Fox News this morning. It was talking, well, not Fox News. I clicked on the link and it took me to Fox. It took me to the Fox website. And what was it about? It was about something. Like you ever notice all the news, it always says Trump this, Trump that. And before that, it was Obama this, Obama that, Obama. And they play us with words. It's a psychological thing that I'm not qualified to even say anything about. But they play us in that psychology because when you say that, you already trigger somebody. And if you can get them triggered, then you can keep the cattle fighting and whatever you want to do happens. And so it's the human rights. That's what it was. There's an article on Fox website because I was looking up the UN report on United States human rights violations, which happens every administration because no administration gives a damn. And it said Trump human rights violations. And that's one, it's stupid. It's a lie. They say that on Fox because they want to try to rally the people who actually still think that this billionaire is fighting for them. And they want to piss off the people who look at Fox News and get their blood pressure up to get arguing, fighting over. So I don't like the phrase traitor Trump. I like the phrase it's just traitor cronyism, right? That's all it is. And that's all it ever will be. And I think if we continue to focus on the figureheads, the warm bodies, the talking heads that they put in front of all of this, the Macrons, and that's another thing, and the Merkels and all these guys. The other thing was they're not rioting. They're having major protests in France right now because Macron, I don't know if he's a billionaire. Is he a billionaire? He's a bastard. I know that he's a billionaire. You know, but they're rioting about wealth inequality. Sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Is there anybody, any countries out there that actually is, you have a relationship with that term, wealth inequality? Let me turn this off. I was talking about the South China Sea. Where's Nemo at? Hold on, I want Nemo behind me. I need a pretty picture. Where's Nemo? Nemo, we're gonna find Nemo. Nope, is that Nemo? That's not Nemo, hold on. Find Nemo. I got a picture of Nemo up here somewhere. That's the reef. There we go. Here's Nemo. I want Nemo behind me. Because y'all killed Nemo. Our greed kills Nemo. It wasn't the sand dredger that killed Nemo. It's us. It's us. It's not. There you go. There go Nemo. There we go. We killing Nemo. Ain't nobody gonna find Nemo because Nemo's under like a half a ton of sand. I'm saying little kids watching this. I'm sorry. Don't watch it. Don't let it. He said Nemo is dead. Yeah, Nemo did. Nemo. China didn't put Nemo under half a ton. Nemo is just some nitrates right now for, I don't know, got some JP4 jet fuel trickling on with not China's got all the airplanes taking off because we can't seem to figure out wealth inequality is not a good thing. We can't seem to back away from the crony capitalism that runs this whole world. So let me look at the comments. Look at the comments to see what's happening. I don't like. There is no administration that's traitors to its people. Governments were designed to turn on the people. That's to manage and control the people. This is how I see this playing out. You're a historian. You disagree with me. I'd love to see your data and your information. The kings and the lords dominated the planet. And once they dominated the planet and they had enough colonies as far and wide as they could, they installed governments to govern those colonies. And that's where our government came from. Our government was never for us. It was never designed for us. Now they give us a lot of things like the Bill of Rights and the Constitutions, and they give us all these things to make us think it's for us and we control it. We don't control it. We've never controlled it. It's always been in their control. And how do they keep control? Because you keep blaming Trump and you keep blaming Obama and you keep blaming Macron. You keep blaming Merkel. You keep blaming Putin instead of saying maybe crony capitalism running the whole damn world isn't going to work. Maybe crony socialism isn't going to work. Maybe crony communism isn't going to work. Maybe the crony is the problem with everything. Maybe because you have these crony things and you got a middle class that wants to be the cronies. You got an upper class that wants to join the crony community. Maybe that's the problem. Anyway, let me go back and look at some comments. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Laura Jean. Ish, yes, we're on YouTube. Finally got YouTube back working good. Gerard, you are a preacher in the Church of Reality. Thank you, Heidi, but I'm not a preacher. I'm not that smart. I'm not that. They're just dumb. I'm not smart at all. It's just they're dumb and they don't hide any of this anymore. Like it's just in the public domain. You can do so much easy click. It's not even research anymore. You can just click on a link and read the history of how all this stuff is coming together and how they're lying to very, very gullible people. And so all I'm saying is, y'all, let's look at the information and let's take a stance like we're human beings and we're not the little labels that all of these birth dumb stuff gave us. So I don't think that's preaching. I think I'm just saying, look, that's all look, I leave it up for the smart people to go do the analysis and give you the real details and all that stuff. I'm just somebody who just says, look, don't kill people. That's all I'm saying. Don't kill people. If you don't kill people, I'm good with you. But you kill people, we got a problem. So I don't think that's preaching. I think that I think it's time that the parents and the people who actually know that the world is sick start speaking more than the people who want to play politics. Because all politics is just getting people in a group to turn against some other people to screw those other people. And that's what it's always been. And so the other people get a lot of people in their group to screw the other people back because they're trying to screw these people. And it's just this whole same tribalism. They do it with race and religion, everything else, and nationalism, nations, states, regions. It's all the same thing. And then they start destroying things. And like we talked about immigration, I have no immigration. All of this stuff is just human rights. You know, you guys just came together and had your human rights, your immigration council. They got some decisions, y'all. They made some decisions for us. They figured it out. They made a deal, and they're going to give money to the Libyan, the gangs in Libya, because they don't have a government. Because the Obama administration, they got to put the administration behind it, so I don't trigger nobody. Went and murdered their government. And so there's no government. It's just a rogue state, which is why all the slaves are being pulled from there. So now the European idea is that, oh, we're going to get together and we're going to give them money and send them some weapons. That's the same stupid solution. That's the same dumb solution the shooter in Maryland just did. I'm mad. I'm gonna get a weapon and do something dumb. I'm going to be violent. That's the American Congress solution. You don't give people weapons. We got a problem. How are we going to figure this immigration thing out? I don't know. We got some AK-47s and some tanks and stuff. Let's give them to Libya. So they're going to give some weapons to rogue gangs in Libya, and that's going to fix the problem. What that's going to do is get a whole bunch of people killed. That's what it's designed to do. Instead of sitting back and seeing if the European people, and there's no European people, they're just people who migrated and they had ancestors. They stayed in Europe. They just didn't migrate west and north and south and other places. So there's no such thing as European people. But the people who live in the place that y'all call Europe, they don't own their governments. And so they can't go to their government and say, wait a minute, why are people immigrating? Did somebody do something in the place that they live to make them to immigrate? What if we got those people to stop doing what they're doing and help them have food and farms and houses where they live, and they'll stop running over here? But that's not what they want, because as much as your government in Europe, says, we need to stop the immigrants. They don't want to stop the immigrants. That's free slaves. They love free labor and cheap labor. Not only that, it pisses you off. It pisses you off because now your beautiful neighborhood got a whole bunch of Middle Eastern and black faces running around it, right? And so they want that. and then they can get the immigrants, give them some voting rights and give them some stuff. And so it's all division. It's always been division. They don't want them going back. And we know, you know what, let me see if I can find this picture. I tried to find a picture the other day because I didn't mean to get into the immigration topic, but this is very important. This is very important. Ah, man, I can't remember. Where is that picture? I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. I have to do some quick search. I got a million pictures, and the pictures are fantastic in terms of demonstrating a point. Demonstrating a point. And there's a picture, man, goodness gracious. I have to post, I'll post it later. I want to show the daggone picture. I'm gonna try one more thing. I know y'all like sitting there like he's supposed to say something. He's like doing searches on the internet. All right. I'm gonna give it one more shot. If I don't see what I'm looking for, then I'm gonna say that's enough. I'm not gonna find it. I'll post it. I'll post it on my feed. The thing is that when you go and you strip mine a country and you steal all their resources and you take all the resources out of South America and out of Africa and you dump them in Europe and you dump them in Britain, some of y'all know the picture I'm talking about. The people are gonna go where you put the resources. Why? Because our whole economy, I'm gonna say our, notice how I'm saying our. I like to say our. It's important that you don't get lost in looking at me and my skin color and thinking I'm saying you. No, I'm not that stupid. Our. My whole life was built on slavery. My whole life was built on the destruction of foreign countries by everybody in my country, including me. And that's why I have such a nice lifestyle. Now I'm backing away from it. I'm doing everything I can. I spend as little money as possible. I buy as few clothes. I never upgrade my phone unless it's broken and I have to. I don't go buy a laptop because I need it to be fast. Because all of this is based on slavery. It's all based in forced labor. The countries that did the colonizing, and America wasn't one of them at first, right? America was a colony, but America lucked up after World War II, and it stepped into that colonizer status where it could have world power, and it took over a lot of the colonies from Europe. But of course, those people are going to migrate out of their countries because we left them barren, and our countries keep them in the third world, and those who get uppity, we bomb them back to the fourth world. You know, and we have to accept that reality. It's not a racial thing. It's not the white man thing. It's not the Britain thing. It's not any of those things. It's an us thing. Us, all of us. This shirt right here. Slaves had some making in this, and I'm not gaslit enough to think that they don't. So anyway, but the picture, which I am not going to find, I'm going to try one more search. I make faces when I search. My brain, when it's doing things, when you get, oh, I found it. Hey, look at this. Why are people immigrating? And this is the low quality one. Let me try and tell you. This is why people are immigrating. I know y'all seen this one. This is why people are migrating to your countries. Because we did this. We took all of the resources out of Africa. Oh, this is a different one. This is the one that I really like. Because the one I like, South America, is empty too. We took all the resources out of those countries and we dumped them in a place, which is where those people will walk when poverty comes. And not only that, but then we funnel the weapons to those countries, which is the same stupid idea Europe came up with, the people in Europe who got together and said, we're going to give people Libya money and weapons, and that's going to help the immigration problem. That's why they're immigrating. They can't live where they are. So they're getting the hell out of there. I'm gonna look at comments. But this is the picture I love. In fact, I'm gonna make that my background for the rest of this. I started talking about China and the South China Sea, but the conversation is going a different direction, which I'm completely fine with that. This is what we have to do. We have to talk about the things that are most important, And the reality is, we don't give a damn about the third world. We don't give a damn about the reef systems. We don't give a damn about those turtles. We don't give a damn about Nemo, Finding Dory, none of them. Because of money. All because of money. All because of money, because we're upset that we don't have as much as the cronies. All right, let's look at the comments. What are y'all talking about? I hope you're not talking about race. I ain't talking about that stuff. It's just silly to me. The sun caused so many problems. Y'all need to get rid of that. We need to turn the sun off. The sun, and people actually believe this stuff. Anyway, yep, y'all talking about race. I try to let y'all drive the discussion, but all right. Let me see. Whites are the most fearful. Ha, said it. Brenda, are whites real? I don't know. I'm not going to answer that. I have no idea. It's so many people who identify with that color, and there are a lot of people who don't. And so I don't think I can come up with a good statistic that'll make any sense. So I'm not even going to touch that one. I'm just going to say that I know that the majority of the people on this planet are scared and shaking in their boots. And how do I know that? Because cronies run the planet. They're scared to actually stand up for human rights. And so they're okay with all of the devastation that's happening around the world. That's my way of ducking out of that question. Agreed, Gerard. Terms create what I call defense attack. Automatically puts people in defensive, at the defensive. Labels all about separation and stagnation. That's it, Troy. You got it. Please tell everybody. Please tell everybody. They just divide them up and take what they all have. And you know, and the only thing that the people they divide up, they get ego. That's all they get out of it. They don't get a whole lot of ego out of it because we're taking that from them. Because the cronies, they take all the money, they take all the everything, all the chicken at the table. They take all the money, they keep them in just ridiculous amounts of poverty. And now we're taking their egos. Now we're taking away facts, and data are taking away their bragging rights. You're not getting anything out of any of this. You're just looking really stupid, and you're helping keep this crony system devastating the world. I'm freezing on YouTube. Yeah, that can happen. Ish, I don't know what's going on. You like to watch over there. It's good. That's why I want to make sure I'm not YouTube racist. I got it going over there too. That's what Australia looks like. We're all mined out. Oh, Ish, thank you for that. Thank you for that nugget. That's why it's good to have friends in Australia. I didn't know that. I don't know anything about Australia's history. I want to know some more, Ish. So if you got something that's trustable, because I like to get information from people who actually live in the country that we talk about. If you got like a source that's trustable, where it's not his story, but it's actual history, send it to me. I'd love to know more about Australia. I'd love to talk about, because I suspect it was the same thing. Because Australia was a colony, right? And the colonizers did what they did, and they killed who they could. They took what they could. They handed that up to that 0.01% generation. Everybody else just was in ridiculous poverty, stole all their land, shot all their ancestors. And the people are left over, they think that, oh, I'm proud to be a member of the colony. Somebody said that the other day. Let me tell you this. I got tagged in something. That's funny. I like to look at threads sometimes. Sometimes I jump in. Sometimes I just sit back and laugh. Somebody tagged me in a thread when they were talking about their friend was proud of how the world was colonized, their ancestors. And I'm just sitting back laughing at it. Like, I'm proud of what Britain did. We did a good job. First of all, dummy, if you're commenting on a thread on Facebook, it wasn't a we. There was no we in that. That was not you. They did that. 0.01%, the people who run this planet. Now, if you have genetics going back to Britain, I guess that's something you want to be proud of. Yeah, nothing to do with that. It means that your family was abused by the 0.01% that did it. You were the dummies that they got to get on the boats and go die and fight to try to take over everything. And after you died, your ancestors died and fight and got the colony, got it set up because you believed that they were pagans and you were Christianity. You were bringing some Christian to them. Where Brother Vegan at? He hating on Christianity. And after all that was said and done, and your ancestors got some land, you got a little land, we got some food, some farms and stuff, got rid of the indigenous, then they screwed your people. They took their land, murdered your great-great-great-great-grandpappy, took his land, like the same way they murdered Lavoy Finnecum and everybody else. And this is why I'm saying that don't get lost in that. Don't be gaslit and gullible and think that you are them. You are not them. Somebody just said on YouTube, it's a big club and we ain't in it. You ain't in it. So I was laughing at the thread. I was like, oh my Lord. Like, how do I give like world history to these people? If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube or Periscope, It means that you're not living a free life. I don't know. I'm gonna say this in a way. It means that our lives aren't as exciting as the crony billionaires' children, the trillionaires' children. I do believe they're trillionaires. I think they're trillionaires and they just don't want to tell us. That's what I think. I think they're trillionaires all over this planet, but they know that that's a little too far. You know, they know that if they admit that they're trillionaires, that might actually kick off the wealth disparity where the rest of the middle class and the upper class who think that they're going to do well in this system, that they're not actually going to end up being slaves also, aren't going to be a part of it. And just to clarify, when I say that, what do I mean that the upper class and the middle class are all going to be slaves? Well, their kids are all going to be slaves. They might be slaves too. That would be justice though if they were slaves, because they're the ones who are propping this thing up. What do I mean? Money's going away. So you can save and put all your retirement money away. Put it all away. Put it in any currency. Pick a currency. Say, well, I don't put my money in the dollars. I put my money in the yuan. I put my money in the rupee. I put my money in Bitcoin. You can put your money anywhere you want to put your money. Robots don't work for money. Dummy. They work for oil. Robots and software don't work for money. The software I design that's going to take your job, it doesn't work for money. It doesn't care. It just runs and it puts you out of a job. That's what it does. I used to be an automation engineer. It just runs. That's all it does. This world doesn't need 7 billion people. And in fact, for the cronies who run this world that got you so gaslit to think that, oh, I'm a part of the ancestors of Britain that took over the world. Let's go, Britain. They're going to kill you. They're going to kill you. That's really what it comes down to. Because there is no plan for people when money goes away. Now, there might be money like at some massive levels where multi-trillionaires or gazillionaires at that point trade gazillions back to each other. But what is that going to mean if you saved up 10 million in your savings account and you hand it down to your kids? 10 million in a world with gazillionaires. Think about that for a minute. I know it's going to take a minute. Let your brain do the process and let the wheels and the smoke do what they must do. What is $10 million you saved up for your babies and 2 acres or half an acre of land in the city? Exactly what is that going to do in a land of gazillionaires? And the wealth disparity is not like a slowly growing chart worldwide. It's like this. It's exponential. Exponential. And the scariest thing about it, like I said before, I think it's all a game. If you ask me, I think the billionaires are just playing this game because they're bored. They got so much money, they have nothing else to do. It's like, let's just play a game with countries. Let's make up a game. Let's call it country A murder country B. Let's see how this goes. And then they get tired of playing with the countries because they get tired of playing with your intellects at the racial level and the religious level, and the country level gets boring to them. They become gazillionaires. Then they start playing with the continents. I wonder if I could wipe out a whole continent. Never done that before. Let's see if I can make that work. And it's a fun game for them. But that is what a psychopath is. And the middle class and the upper class striving hard to join that psychopathic community is a really bad idea. And that's where we are today. But that's why I'm hopeful. That's why I'm hopeful, because those people can wake up. One post from you might change everything. One post from you, I'm talking to you, right? You. Yeah, no, don't look at the other way. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, right? One post from you could change the right person's mind. It could actually clear away some of that gas that's lighting their eyes and actually bring about the right conversation. It's like every now and then somebody gets on the news and says something that's true. You might say something to someone or post something highly important and factual. Make sure it's factual. That might actually make a significant difference. You never know. We could just be one person away from fixing a lot of the world's problems. Plundering treasure is an addiction to the 1%. The ancestors were pirates. Exactly, Ish. It's plundering. If you can it's easier to take what people have than to talk to people. You know, and that's why the psychopaths thrive. I think that they're the predators. I heard a doctor say once, they're the predators of human beings, that they actually replace the whole predatory thing. So we always have something to struggle against. Just make sure you're struggling against the right thing. Make sure you're struggling against something that actually is going to help the future generations, not help you today. One race, one human race. Thank you, Miko. And that's the thing. That's why, and it's hard. It's hard to do that, though. It's really hard because we're born into the bull. We're born into these ideas that you are this. And if you don't fight China and China takes the South Sea, we're going to have a problem. I need to fight with my country, China. I need to fight with America because I voted for the president, or I hate the president, or I live in America. My kids got to be here. I want to make sure, because if we don't take control of everything, the Russians will, the Chinese will, and if they don't, they're going to do this. Guess what? It doesn't matter who runs the world. If anybody runs the world, you will be in slavery, and so will your kids. That's the bottom line. We aren't at that place. That's why I'm totally agree with Brexit. Brexit's a phenomenal idea. We need to Brexit everywhere. You need to exit, because taking a monetary system that controls the world and making it bigger and bringing in more countries into it is the dumbest idea going. Why would you take a broken system, a system that has no respect for human rights anywhere, in any country, not even the countries, the people who vote for these leaders? Why in the world would you roll that out on a worldwide scale? If you actually think that's a good idea, we're going to need to send you back to grade school. Why would you take an unsustainable system that murders people and go global with it? How does that make any sense? You know, we need to break things apart. We need smaller economies. And I'm not saying, when I say that we need to be like more republic style, smaller tribalistic segments, I'm talking about small local economies, not really the tribal thing. I'm saying that taking an ancient wise thing that evolved and worked, smaller communities, strong, small communities make for strong nations, strong regions, strong states, which make for a strong planet. It makes for a sustainable planet. When governments don't have militaries, they don't invade each other. When they don't have all the if governments have bombs, weapons, nukes, drones, guns, bullets, they're gonna use it. That's just a fact. They're going to use it because governments don't have to have dialogue like neighbors do. Like I always say, you can't go invade your neighbor if you got a gun, because there's a higher power telling you no, and it'll put you in prison. So most people don't do it. We don't have that control over government. Governments have militaries. There's no higher power telling them what they can or can't do. So America will invade, destroy, famine, kill, destroy. They'll do anything they want to do, and no one can say no, because the people are the ones who are supposed to be able to say no, but they don't say no. They're busy fighting over little silly, stupid things that don't matter. You know, so governments with militaries will always use them. Always. When Bush came in, he swelled the defense budget. When Obama came in, he swelled the defense budget. When Trump came in, he swelled it. So it's the same exact thing. They're all doing the same thing. And I think in your nation, you'll probably see the same thing. And it's not because Macron is evil, he's a psychopath, but because America's doing it, right? It's called an arms race. If the other country has a whole bunch, you need to have a whole bunch too. And if the enemy gets more, then he gets more. It's this constant escalating thing. You know, for people who think voting is a way out, I don't think so. I think the system has to crash personally, but you might want to vote for politicians who refuse to swell the military budget. You might want to vote for politicians who swear to reduce the budget or delete the budget. That's what we need. We need our military saving lives, not taking lives. But if the government has a military, they're required to use it. They're going to use it because every human being on this planet would use it. If you were them, you would use it too. Nobody goes and has a negotiation when they can just go murder people. The military, and this is why the Constitution never allowed for America to actually have a standing military, ever. Navy, Army, Marines, all that. Y'all not supposed to be there. I love y'all. I do. Y'all do some good fighting and stuff. But we need y'all like saving lives. You know, when the gangs in Africa, when they break out and they start murdering a bunch of people, that's when we need y'all. We need y'all to go be the heroes. And most of y'all want to be heroes. But the problem is you're not allowed to be heroes because Americans are too silly, stupid. Yes, small is beautiful, brings back the vibrancy. Yes, small is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's wonderful. Because if the government, imagine this. Imagine if we were all and I don't know that I even like the ideas of government, but imagine if we had all governments were like the size of states. Rhode Island's everywhere. You know, how big is Rhode Island's military? How big can it be? I don't know. They might have 100 tanks. I don't know, 100 tanks, 20 drones, something like that. I don't know. You're not invading anybody. You're surrounded by a whole bunch of other nations. They're like, no, you're not invading anybody, because the less military you have, the less destruction you can do, which means that this thing can't go endlessly, which is the other thing about the banks. Whoever has the most banks behind them can have an endless war, you know, because you can keep throwing poor bodies at the fight. And that's what you know what? I kind of like how that sounded. Kind of like how that sounded, because that's what the banks do. The banks pay to throw more poor bodies at the fight, and that's what every president does. Every single president. It takes poor children and it throws them as bodies into the fray. And we got to be smarter than that. We got to have more concern for people who were born in bad spots, you know, than what we do. Ellen says, I cheat when playing Monopoly. Yes, Ellen. Yes, everybody does. We all do. Let's admit it. Can we all admit it? Can we all admit it? If we play cards and we could cheat, we could pull a card up our sleeve. Would we cheat? Hell yeah, we cheat. Oh yeah. Listen, I let other people play. I like to play fair. No, I don't. No, I don't. My big brother used to cheat all the time. He used to beat me, and I never saw him cheating. No, if we have control over a situation, we're going to take control of the situation because we're human beings. We evolved to want control over a situation and to win. You know, the only way we win is we don't put anybody in power over anybody else. That's just how it goes. I think the earth is a billionaire's board game, and it's a violent one. Maybe the earth can be a billionaire's board game, but it can't be a violent one. Like, I think that's the first step maybe to reclaiming our humanity, is taking away their militaries. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, people just got to stop signing up. That's not going to, I don't think that'll ever work, because starving people will always pick up a gun before they go starve. And the governments are great at doing that. That's why why do you think America's being starved right now? Why do you think your country's being starved right now? Why do you think, and you know, like I'll talk about the Houthi homeowners, because they're just homeowners, not rebels. They're just homeowners, and we're killing them. But even they're violent, because everybody's violent. You don't have the ability to get out of it, not in a scarce world. When you have scarcity, you have violence. And so one of the things they talked about, which is a bad thing about the Houthi homeowners, is when they went in, they did the same thing the psychopathic governments did. They shut down the economies, so the people were poor, and so the only way people could eat is they had to join up with them to fight. And that's why the fight takes so long. There's no economy. The people have to join up, sign up, and fight. Same thing in America. You starve enough people out of trailer parks and ghettos, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to come to your country and murder you. Why? Because they're not going to sit back and watch their children starve. They're going to do what, and this is why I don't think this whole crony capitalism, crony socialism, crony communism, make sure I hit all of them, it doesn't work. Because whenever the people who control all of it need you to go fight, they'll starve your children and they will go fight. So I think that's the issues. Like when people are sustainable and they got food and they got land, they can take care of themselves, they got a house, they won't go fight in your military. So that's why they have to have the draft. We didn't starve the people fast enough. We can't get them over to Vietnam, wherever we need to. And so they started drafting people to go fight and murder. You know, and this is a good idea. And still you got a lot of people that it's a bad thing. We say he's a draft dodger. That's a bad thing. Not wanting to go kill people you don't know is a bad thing. That's how you know somebody is like really, really lost in this birth craziness. This proud of being born somewhere, born in some skin and some feet in a country that they had nothing to do with. That is the saddest pride I have ever heard in my life. There is nothing more patriotic to the human race to refuse to go murder people you don't know, you never talked to. You don't know if they're good or bad people. You don't know what the reason is for. You know, and so they do the draft. But the draft is just a solution because the leadership didn't starve enough people fast enough to get them to join up, and because the fight in Vietnam or wherever it was, it kicked up too quick. And that's why they have the draft. You know, so being a patriot, even to your nation, even if you don't want to be a patriot to the human race, you just want to be a patriot to your nation. Do you really want to be patriotic in pushing your nation in a violent, ignorant, psychopathic direction, or you want to be a patriot in pulling your your nation full of humans back to a more humanistic position? I'm that way. Oh, let me go down. I'm way up in the comments. I love charades. Yeah, the world. This is charades. This is definitely charades. It's like you don't have a voice and you're trying to say stuff, get people to don't die. We dying. Let's not kill us. Charades was a good game. Let me see. I've been in Costco Bigger than Rhode Island. Yeah, Ben and Costco's bigger than Rhode Island. Exactly. And that's because we got these big mega, that brings something to point, Ellen. What was happening? So there's some big signing of some big factory which is the craziest thing on the planet. I think it was Trump. Trump went to go sign something. I'll post a link. Y'all can watch the news. I don't want to show the clip. It's getting late. But he went to go sign. No, he took a gold shovel and he dug it in the ground, and some Thai company has actually bought up a bunch of land in America. They're building a big factory to manufacture small electronics in America. And like, yeah, the jobs are coming back. And I'm just sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. Like, we're cheering billionaires from Thailand coming here, building building up more crony. So it's American crony billionaires are bad to Americans, but the Thai billionaires coming here, buying land, building factories. This is a good thing. And this is a good thing. Why? Because the shovel was gold and Trump dug it. So of course it has to be a good thing, that we keep going along with this crony stuff. Keep cheering the cronies. We got to stop cheering the cronies. But you're talking about Costco. The Costco shouldn't exist. Target shouldn't exist. Walmart shouldn't exist. Kmart, none of these crony companies should actually exist. There shouldn't be any monopolies in small communities. All the money in small communities, sustainable small community, comes from that community and stays in that community. If too much of it leaves, the community collapses. If too much of it comes in, they become ignorant and they might become cronyisms, or they become little pseudo support to cronyisms. And so these are bad ideas. No, Trump should not be digging in a gold shovel the same way Obama did when these big corporations come in. They should be saying, hell no, you can't come in here and giving loans to small businesses, mom and pop shops, so the people out of work can start their own businesses. They can manufacture their own things so they can build that's a great thing about a collapse though. When an economy fails and a currency is dying, is we actually have a chance to do the right thing. We have a chance to put organic economy, business, sustainable trade, barter, gift, whatever you want to call it, back in a place where cronyism and massive factories never should have dominated. That's what you do. If you want to, some people say you fight this on a local level, we get our local government. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go get local government, local people to say hell no to any more Walmarts, Kmarts, Costco's, all these big massive factories. If the person who owns it has more than $100 million in the bank, don't buy a damn thing from it. That's what we need to do. Go find yourself a small people, because there are a lot of makers all over the country, in your country too, who want to make. We have to go back to mom and pop models. We got to get away from these big billionaire models. No, we don't want the jobs. That's stupid. You know why? Because it's temporary. Even if some jobs come back, they're not going to come. And this, I was explaining this to someone yesterday. The jobs that come to factories, what if they start closing up factories and bring manufacturing back to America? Let's talk about this for a minute. You know what actually is going to happen? Do you think they're going to close up that factory that was made 20 years ago on robots and software designed 20 years ago, where that factory needed 20,000 or 5,000 people to run it, and just package that up and put it on a boat and bring it to America? No. That is not how upgrades work. Ask anybody in the corporate world. This is how it works. They say, how can we make this more efficient? They'll close that factory. They'll take the money. They'll put it in the newest technology, the best robots, the best software, the newest design that requires the least amount of humans. And that factory that required 5,000 people in Thailand or wherever you bring China, wherever you bring it back from, it'll require 5 people in America to run. 500. Because it has to make sense to the shareholders. It has to make sense when it comes back. And if it does come back and say, oh, well, it's got the same 5,000 employees to run the factory, they're lying to you. They'll bring it in, they'll hire them because they want to be in the news and everybody cheers, yay, 5,000 jobs to the community. And guess what they're going to do after 5 years, after things are up and stable and all the robot software, everything's going well and it's efficient? They're going to fire them. They're going to lay them off. They got the press, they got everybody's happy, the company name was all broadcast on the news. I have to post a link. So everybody loves this company because it came to America and it brought some jobs, and then they screw you. And it's not personal, it's just business. That's what happens when cronyism runs the world. And the earth is flat, so I've heard. Yes, Norma, I don't even go there. I just let people, hey, I don't know. I ain't never been to space. Because it's not worth fighting over. It's not worth fighting anybody. When cronyism runs our planet and seeks to murder or enslave all of our children, no matter what they look like, no matter what you think your tribe is, whether the earth is flat or not, to me, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We need to take this down, right? What Trump said in the tweet, that's insignificant. What's going on? Insignificant. The significant thing is to get human beings going back, acting like human beings, being intellectuals, utilizing critical thought, looking at facts, and like allying with other human beings against the predator cronies who are taking over the damn planet, who have taken over the damn planet, fighting for the third world nations who are trying to build up. You know, these African countries and the Middle Eastern countries and the South American countries, they might be our greatest allies in fixing this, but they got to be strong. They're not strong right now. This is why the Obama administration murdered Gaddafi, because he was going to make a continental currency for Africa, the African continent. And if he did that, the Rothschild banks would have been really pissed off. The corrupt slavers that you love that are behind America and Europe, they would have had to compete with a massive new currency that's pumped. And you think about all the minerals. You know, the wealthiest mineral countries in the world that we know of right now are in Africa. What happens if they actually start making money in their own currency and you got to start trading with them as partners? Billionaires don't like that. Trillionaires don't like that. Hell no. So, of course, what the Obama administration did, they went in, ha, 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 ha. We came. What'd she say? We came, he saw, he died. And I'm supposed to be mad that she isn't president. Oh my God, y'all, you don't know me. Hell no, that woman didn't get my vote. All right, anyway, but neither did Trump. Seems it's patriotic to get deferments and then say others, to get deferments and then send others to die in the military, a la Cheney, Clinton, Trump, exactly. And that's what's patriotic, is murdering, is getting poor people murdered. The Thai company is also getting a huge tax raise. Yes, for starting a business here. Yes, Ivana. Yes, you saw that. It's nuts. It was like billions. They're giving this Thai company billions in incentive to be here. Now, it's not that I have anything against Thai. Thailand, y'all make some of the most beautiful women on the planet. It's not that. It's simply that your companies and your billionaires and your cronies supposed to stay in your country. You're not supposed to come over here. You're supposed to go over there. Y'all stay over there. We stay over here. And that's a sustainable economy. But your politicians, they turn on us, Ivana. That's what happens. They always turn on us because they don't have to fight for us. All they got to do is keep us fighting over things that don't matter, fight with the police and fight with all this other stuff. None of it that matters, while they actually cause all the problems. And they send all of our money away and they give tax breaks to Thai companies in America and won't give a damn tax break to an American mom and pop shop. America, America, America. That's patriotism. If nobody else posted a link, I had to post a link. But you can't make this stuff up. But that's the great thing about today, is that it's so obvious. It's just in your face. It's so obvious. We don't have to make anything up. You can just post a link, you know, and it's just facts. The biggest problem, though, we have the people in the middle class and the upper class. They don't want to read it. They don't run it. I think a lot of them know, because they know that they're slavers high up on the plantation. They're sitting on the porch. They're enjoying the cotton that's coming in, and they don't give a damn that it's poor white kids, poor Thai kids, poor black kids, and poor Hispanic kids are the ones who are actually making the cotton for the cotton so they can sit up there and pour the lemonade for master. That's why I call them sellouts. Sellouts. I used to be a sellout, though. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging. Not judging at all. I used to say I worked in corporate America. I was a sellout too. But I grew up. Let me see. Walmart killed my hometown. I boycotted them for 30 years. Thank you, Heaven. Heaven. I love your name. Good name. Good name. That's like alien names. I like that name. Heaven. Yes, and that's what Walmart does. Walmart will come in and destroy your economy. They'll destroy your town. They'll put all your mom and pop shops out of business. The makers will stop making. They'll forget how to make things. And then we get locked into this economy where we have no other choice. It's like, I like to look back, and I think when we were more tribal, more egalitarian type environment societies, we were more peaceful and we were more friendly. We helped each other more than we do today. But the kids today, which is what the colonizer model is, you come in, you destroy their heritage, you put their kids in school, you wipe away all their culture. In 2 or 3 generations, you don't even know what your culture is. Your culture is supporting cronyism. Your support to the kids today, their culture is sending money to big banks, making them lots of money, going to college, getting jobs, making the bigger banks bigger, wealthier, stronger, fueling more wars, and they think that that's their culture, and it's not their culture. You come from a beautiful people. You come from Germany. You come from Britain. You come from Africa. You come from the Middle East. You come from South America. You come from Australia. It's beautiful. Some of the most wonderful, wise people. But they destroy all of it. And they convince you that you're Walmarters. And it's funny and it's sick at the same time, but we have to go back and look back to more ancient times, more wiser people than what we are today. But the Waltons love the welfare system. Yes, Gellin, they do. And the welfare system is a phenomenal trap. It's how they trap people. They keep them weak and they keep them poor and they keep them voting exactly how they need them to. You don't give a man a fish. You know, don't give a man 100 fish. Give a man a few fish so he doesn't die. Give him a fishing rod and teach him how to fish. That's why everybody needs 40 acres and a mule. If you don't own land, you need to buy some land. Go get some land, get strong again. You're weak. Don't be weak. Local, all the things local. Absolutely, Miko. If we get back to local, we can be strong again. We can make our own decisions. If we're not local and strong, then the wealthiest will continue to make decisions for us. And that direction leads to a very ugly place for our kids. We got to have more love for our kids than we have for ourselves and the little greedy bastards that we've become. Sounds bad, but it's true. It is true. We've become these little greedy bastards and we're destroying the future for our children. And it's okay because we got a new car. It's okay because our president won. It's okay because our party won. Won't just be immigrants housed there. No, it won't just be immigrants in the FEMA camps. Nope. FEMA camps for you. Got your name on it. They're converting Walmarts and what is it to defeat these FEMA camps? Oh no, they're for you. Got my name on one of them. Gerard got a little label right above a little cage. It might be a Gerard cage. They're gonna put me in the cage, but that's okay. I'm fine with it. I don't care. My job is to be a man and not be scared of any of this. My job is always to speak up for the youth. My job is always to speak up for the kids, not of any selective community, not of any selective race, not of any selective country, not of any selective religion. That's what a man is. That's what a woman is. Everything else is a kid, right? Every species on this planet invests more in the next generation than it does its little greedy self, right? And I grew up. Took me years, took me decades, but you can too. Grow up and go back to the wisdom that even microbiology understands, that the next generation has to be stronger than this generation, that you don't funnel the resources of a planet just to a few 1% billionaires and expect things to go well for the next generation of deer, wolves, lions, whatever you are. We're human freaking beings, man. The global oppressive system is about to consolidate. Yeah, it is, Miko. Something's going on. You can smell it. I smell it too. Stinks. Smell bad. Smell like some eggs. Sometimes I cook eggs and I leave the pan in the kitchen to come back the next day like, oh, Lord, smells bad. Some bad things are up. They're not shutting down the press like you're talking about the UK. They're not giving their police guns again for nothing. They're giving their police guns again for a reason. America rolling out their police state, Democrat, Republican Party, doesn't matter who's in office, murdering, shooting these kids in the street, and they're not going to slow it down. Murdering, shooting them in the country too. They're not going to slow it down because they're going somewhere with this, and it works really well because they convince people, oh, they're just shooting black kids. No, they're not. Shooting the hell out of these white kids. But they don't ever say that. They don't ever talk about it because they know that you'll get upset as a black kid. Although I was encouraged with the kid they murdered in Pittsburgh, because they actually got a lady on television and she said the truth, which is why I know she'll never be on television ever again in her life. Not on mainstream media. She said it doesn't matter what color these kids are. It doesn't matter what color these babies are. Grown adults need to stop shooting them. When people start saying the truth, that's how you know you don't get to be on the media, you know. But as long as they can convince you it's just one race against another, then they keep you divided up. Then they don't have to change anything. This is why none of your politicians are talking about changing any of the laws that send people with guns into your neighborhoods. And I keep saying it. I asked a question yesterday. Police don't need lethal weapons. If you get rid of the lethal weapons that the police states have, and so how is a police state applicable to all of this? The only way you keep control of your country is you keep your people scared. You keep your people scared by keeping divided and fighting each other. If they actually got together, they could say, no, we don't want a police state. If they say, no, we don't want a police state, that means you can't control them. You can't control them. They control their country. They can get rid of the military. They can stop robbing other countries. They could tie countries, companies stop coming in. See, I know I say a lot really fast. Sometimes I'm trying to put a lot in there. But that's why none of your politicians are talking about changing any of the laws. They keep talking about training police, which will do nothing. One thing is what I was thinking about yesterday. If they simply give police non-lethal weapons, whether it's the rubber bullets, the tasers, whatever it is, you know what happens? The police get smarter. The thugs who join up to beat people up that make the good cops look bad, they stop joining up because now it's not about killing people and just being thugs and because they were locked in lockers as children. The people who actually want to help, the kids who say, I want to grow up, be a police officer and serve my community and help people, those people start joining up again. The police who are actually in place, it forces them to actually talk to people again, not going to a situation guns blazing, but going to a situation like, well, what happened? What did she say to you? She said, she talking about your mama? Okay, you talk about you. It forces them to become psychologists again. It forces them to be smart again. It forces them to rejoin. And you got a lot of great cops who are that way now. In fact, if you ask me, I believe it's the majority, but they don't want that. They need the dragoons who will go in guns blazing, and that's why the politicians will not take out the scarcity laws. You do two things, I'd be real happy. You end the war on drugs, which get rid of 90% of the weapons on the street, and then you take the guns from the police and you give them non-lethal weapons. Now, mind you, it has to be in a model like in the UK. You got to have your SWAT team. You got to, because the brothers who go down there talking, trying to get the community to stop fighting and whatever, they got to be able to pick up the phone and say, all right, we need some guns. But then you got to go look at where the UK failed. The UK failed when they didn't take out the laws that made survival illegal, right? That's why the cops needed guns, because they started writing laws for these robber barons, these railroad tycoons, and taking away from rights from citizens. Now, when citizens can't actually start a business, they need licensing, they need investment, they need money in the bank, they need bank loans, they need all these things to start a small mom and pop shop or a business or be a maker, then they won't do it, right? They're gonna go the path that they have to go. When they made all this stuff hard to get to and illegal, then citizens started picking up guns. They started running moonshine, they started growing drugs, they started doing these things because they outlawed survival. The UK could have won and none of their police would need any weapons if they actually made it free to be free again. You know, so I would say those three things I think could change everything. End the war on drugs, give the police non-lethal weapons, and start deleting laws. I mean, my goodness, how many laws are in your country? In my country, no one even knows. You can't find a statistic online. They guess at how many laws there are, because every year they bring in like 40,000 new laws. I was posting yesterday, you know what's wrong with the police? 40,000 new laws. Over 300 million citizens who were raised in civics class and taught that they were free. Did you get it now? Does that make any sense? Does that? No, the police aren't racist. The police are tired. They're annoyed. It's an impossible system. It's not designed to work. It's designed to make a police state and fail. It's designed to force people to pick up guns and go fight for survival. That's why these kids have guns and why they join gangs, right? It's not because they're bad kids. It's because survival is illegal. They completely outlawed it, and it walked us into having a police state. So, but it smells bad, Miko. You're right. It's going back the other way. All right, last couple comments. I gotta go. Your town is as strong as its city's ordinances. Absolutely, totally agree. Beautiful day. Oh, yes, it is gonna be. Every day is a beautiful day. Jasmine's a beautiful day every day. Emergency sirens in my community sound more urgent, loud, scary lately. I don't know if it's fire or police yet. Yeah, but they do that. Like the air raid signs, they have these psychological warfare things that they do to us. Fear is always a good thing. Keep people scared and fearful, and just keep them calling the police and keep them voting for legislation. We need more laws and more rights and protect us, protect us, protect. I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to be a man. I don't want to be a woman. I just want to be scared all the time. I agree with that. Demilitarize. That lady needs a voice in the World Civil Council. Absolutely, Ish, but she never will, because when people say smart things that we're just one human race, they get deleted. They don't get to speak. Good morning, Miss T. Labor is the foundation of economy. We're automating. There are and will not be work for many. It's BS. Yes, it is, Miss T, and they're playing us. You see it, though. You see what's happening. Yes, Andy Griffith, heaven. Yes, we need I can't even whistle. We need Andy Griffith back. We need, was it Andy Griffith? And who's some of the other? Dukes of Hazzard. We need Enos. We need Enos back, you know? I don't know if we need Boss Hogg, but we need police to rejoin the communities. That's how you fix the problems, when they feel that they're a part. When your police live in the communities they live in, these things don't happen. But if they convince you that the police are your enemy, and they convince the police that they are the enemy, that when they put on a uniform that they're a gang and they got to protect each other, it's exactly what they'll do. It's all psychology. That's what I'm saying. Make some friends of people who are in the psychology, in the industry, looking at behavioral sciences. I mean, they utilize our evolved necessities and abilities against us. More and more, I see police officers wearing bulletproof vests. There is a plan going on here. They're absolutely, Brother Anthony, there is. They're arming up. And it's not the police that are writing the laws that are arming themselves up. You know, this is a organized, methodical approach to rolling out a police state. That's why you'll hear politics. Again, that's why I sound like a broken record, I know, but I'll say it all the time. I don't care anything about your training. Training is not the problem. Racism is not the problem. None of these things are the root cause. All of these things are side effects of laws that should not exist at all. Free people need to be free, but we all have to accept that concept. I go back to it. Self-determination. You live your life, I live my life. You stay out my pants, I stay out your pants. Well, no, yeah, kind of, not really, but sort of. I stay out your house, you stay out my house. You stay off my land, I stay off my land. When we go back to people having respect for each other as a human being, that you were born here and you have the right to liberty, love, and the pursuit of happiness, when we actually believe that, then all of this comes down, then it actually makes a whole lot of sense. You know, but if you still believe who you are is who you were born as and what you were raised to be, then you're just a pawn for billionaires. Make it free again. Yes, exactly, Jasmine. You can make America great if you make it free again. You can make the world great. You know how great this world can be with the technology and automation we have. If we actually bring freedom back to this world, if we bring liberty back, where you let people live their lives, oh my God, we could be amazing people. But you gotta see 7 billion people as your brothers and sisters. That's what I'm saying. Disagree with people. It's okay to disagree with people all day long on the internet. You don't have to agree with anything they say. But just don't forget that they're part of your family. Speak to them with respect. Speak to them like you're an adult, and step away from these people who are just being increasingly ignorant. How do you want to be treated? Treat others the same. Exactly, Miko. Always treat everybody else how you want to be treated. And also look at where people come from too. Look at the boots that they were born in. Look at the shoes they were born in. If you know better, don't escalate a situation. De-escalate the situation, because you weren't born in the things that they were. A lot of people were abused. You know, it's like I was saying the other day, last thing I say I go. I was saying the other day, I was talking about child abuse. It's a difficult topic, and a lot of people just like murder them, kill them. They're murderers, you know. They're abusers, and I don't chime in on the justice side of it. I just chime in on to protect the people from people who want to hurt kids and pedophile, whatever these abusers are. But you also got to look at where they're from. You know, most abusers were abused, right? They were born in some shoes, and they had somebody who destroyed them as a human being. And so now they're doing destructive things. So if you were abused and you hate them and you want them murdered and hung and lethal injection, whatever, one thing I would ask you to think about is we're all born into this crap. We're all given a real big crap sandwich. And everybody becomes who they're supposed to become. That's why I kind of think this might be a simulation. I think that brother might be right, that we are in this global simulation, that we all become what we're born into. We become that environment. If you see your father hitting your wife, hitting your mother, that becomes normal for you. And most times you end up doing it. You know, we need to have more empathy. We got to have bigger hearts. We got to look at where people are from, not just what they say and what they do. You know, hate, it has a root, it has a source, and we can be preventative and we can extinct these things. abuse, rape, all these things. We can make them go away because the professionals all say it, which is why your leaders never talk about it, which is why your leaders never get rid of the scarcity laws that bring rape, bring gangs, bring violence, bring police brutality. They don't have to. Because people are still blaming the police. They're still blaming the abusers. They're still blaming the guns. They're still blaming all the things that have absolutely nothing to do with prevention and fixing the planet. That's what I'm saying. As much as you can, people, focus on the root cause. Always think about making the world better. Not just you becoming a better. I'm going to end on that. Always think about what you can do to make the world better for the next generation, and not just you becoming a better, not just you becoming a crony, not just you doing what they tell you to do, because you're really not upset that they hurt people. You're just upset because you're not the one, or your people aren't the one hurting people. Do on that for a little bit. Listen, this draw, I gotta go. Y'all have a great day. I love y'all to death. Bye-bye.